Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I'm playing the Tier 10 hybrid Dutch destroyer Tromp. Originally, when I started these Tromp replays, because I've been accumulating them for the last 6 weeks or so, I had 4. This was one that I wanted to toss in here at the end. This game turned out a little bit more favorably than the last one did. If you watched the last replay that I posted up about Tromp, I had a good game in terms of awards and damage total and all that other stuff, but the game ended up being a loss. But it was a great example of what the Tromp can do, especially if you have ships that are kind of pushing into you, which is, in my opinion, really kind of a strength of this ship. It is very effective at that. In the last game, there were aircraft that were spotting me. Fortunately for me in that game, I guess, the red CV was really far north, so I had some time to work between airstrikes. But in this game, things did work out a little bit better. But it was a very fun game to play. This one, the last one too, but this one was a little bit more fun. And I think it was our Montana player in this game who was a little disappointed by something or some things early in the game, and spent a fair amount of time in the game talking about how this was, a certain loss, and because of X or Y or Z that somebody on the team did or didn't do. And yeah, you can see he's already going. I guess I shouldn't say he, maybe he or she. They are already going. That's the right way to do it. And I am, as I often do with the Tromp, using my radio location indicator to get some torpedoes in the water fairly early. The reload on these torpedoes is pretty fast. I don't often do that, I guess, with a lot of other destroyers, but this ship having airstrikes in addition to the guns, I'm willing to do that early in the game. You can see by the time the torpedoes reach that far, it's possible that even cruisers might be up to where the torpedoes are. And I'm going to have in 20 seconds, I'm going to have torpedoes back up on the starboard side of the ship anyway. One of the advantages of a really short torpedo reload. It looks to me, based on the radio location indicator, that the red team destroyer is safely out of harm's way. But maybe I can catch them with that set as I contest the cap and make use of the island here in order to avoid eating a torpedo myself. Now, I'm facing, well, at this point, all that's left is the Holland and the Yamagiri in terms of destroyer threat, as our Shimakaze finished off their Sherman very early, which was a really good thing, as Marseille and Patria are moving away. We've got Santander, Moskva, and Giuseppe Verde here. This side of Smolensk is now pushing right in. And I had a moment of panic there, thinking he was just going to turn in and come right at me, but instead he has slowed down. That's whether I can get the airstrike. I mean, there are torpedoes plainly headed for our cruisers back there, and I do land a nice strike on the Smolensk. And I can continue backing up a little bit here because I know the torpedoes have already gone by. So right now I would say, things look pretty good. We have a little bit of a points lead. It's possible that our Shimakaze is going to pick up the Bravo cap. It's not looking too bad. Bad guys have lost the Pommern and the Sherman. We've lost Johan de Witt. Smoland is putting shots out on, looks like Moskva to me. And I'm going to see if I can hit him again with another airstrike. I have to be aware that torpedoes can be coming again any time. You can see the radio location indicator still telling me the DD is still there. And I'm wide of the mark with the airstrike on that one. And I'm going to use the torpedoes, I think, here in the hope of catching him. I got to be aware, there could be torpedoes coming out of that smoke too. So I'm doing a little bit of a back and forth here, trying to angle against a potential strike out of the smoke and also avoid getting hit broadside on the starboard side with torpedoes from whatever's sitting in the north end of the cap here. Shimakaze on our team does manage to lock down the Bravo camp for us, as both teams now are down 2 ships and Smolensk is on the move. You can see he's moving away, and I'm hoping, just trying to gauge how far he's going to turn. Yeah, he's going to continue his turn. I might catch him here. It's going to be close. Nope. And he says, nope, I'm not going to sit there. I'm getting out of there. Takes a little bit of damage from somebody behind me. But Smolensk having moved, I still have to be careful here. I'm going to see if I can't move up here far enough to... Oh, hey, look at that. My squad just radared. I'm going to get a chance to get some shots on the Holland. And Thunderpants, his torpedoes move a lot faster than mine, so I have to be careful. And I am detected, but I'm in a position to be able to reverse behind the island. And at this point, I kind of outgunned him. So I'm going to take advantage of that and then move behind the island to get back into cover. You can see the Holland torpedoes headed for Santander and Moskva. But we've effectively pushed Holland out of the cap. You can see Yamagiri is over at the Alpha cap. And while we no longer have a points lead, it's still a pretty close game. Both teams down 2 ships. And then our Shimakaze takes his 2nd kill and finishes off the Yamagiri. And things are looking pretty good for us right now. You know, we've got a cap. We're 21 seconds. I might have a 2nd. But it's very likely Holland is going to come back and contest the cap and try to get me spotted for his Smolensk, Marseille, and it looks to me like Slava and Prusen are headed this way. So this is liable to become a little bit of a hot zone here. Looks to me like Patria is going to probably stop behind that island. See if I can get some fires burning. Just gauging the amount of turn and the speed. And we'll see whether or not I'm able to drop the Patria. Looks like he may be just inching forward. First strike, 11 hits, but nothing penetrated. It's because I didn't land shells, didn't land the airstrike shells in the center of the ship. A little bit more effective when I'm able to do that. These airstrike bombs, they do not have a whole lot of penetration, so hitting the center mass of the ship is your most effective use of these things. You can occasionally, of course, start fires on other areas, but you're not going to do a lot of damage, especially on battleships. As I have secured the cap, I'm now getting out of here, because it looks like the red team is making a push on this side, and I don't want to get caught between the hammer and the anvil, so to speak. As I was saying, the penetration values are not very good, so the goal with this ship, especially when targeting battleships, is to try to hit the superstructure in the same way that you would with HE shells from the main guns. And emergency stop. Yeah, he's just barely moving. If I can get him to turn in just a hair, I might land a torpedo too. And that's another use of these airstrikes. If the red player that you're targeting is focused on the fact that you're using your airstrikes against them, sometimes you can get them to turn into your torpedoes. It's not always effective, but I've seen it happen. And I do manage to land one, but there's no flood. Patria finishes off our Montana. Alpha 1924 now out of the game. And the red team push has successfully secured the Charlie cap, but as I'm able to set another fire, we do still have the Alpha cap and the Bravo cap. And while I have to be really careful to not get detected here, it's still a close game. We have a small points lead, We've got a 2 caps to 1 advantage, although with Marseille and the Bravo cap, we're not getting any points there now. I have to decide. Oh, I was really hoping to hit the Prussian, but it just didn't happen. If I'd have caught him in the nose there, it would have almost certainly been a flood. Really hoping somebody's going to finish off Alaska. Just kind of want to point that out, although I'm sure everybody on that side of the map is already well aware. Maybe I can catch Patria chasing the Santander. 20 more seconds, and then I'll have another airstrike back up. And our Hakuryu finishes off Alaska as their Malta takes out our Kremlin. Both teams now down 5 ships, and we still maintain a cap advantage. You can see our Montana. He's not been happy if you've been following the chat. And you can see his comment there about we lose and then laughing. I'm able to catch the Patria with torpedoes, and now I'm going to go back to work on the Prussian. I don't have any illusion that I'm going to, magically secure the Charlie cap here. I just want to slow down the advance of the red ships on the Bravo cap. And you can see there Montana is very, very, very stridently shouting, the game's over, we lost, of course, because they were sunk. And that means we no longer have any chance. Now there's a certain bit of luck in this, well, in every World of Warships game. Matchmaking, of course, is that's luck or lack thereof. And it looks like I might catch the Prussian again with another airstrike. 16 non-pens, that's what I was talking about. And I may catch him with torpedoes here. We'll see. Yep, I'm going to get him with 2. We'll see whether or not that's enough. That and some shells from Satsuma are enough, and now I need to head back that way. It looks like they're going to secure the Bravo cap. They're Holland doing his job. He's out there picking up that cap so that his team can get points. So tip of the hat to the red team Holland player. And you can see our Pommern and Satsuma, they're moving this way. They have to watch for crossfires from Marseille, and there's the Holland. Our Shimakaze has him detected. I don't want to give my position away because I'm hoping to catch the Slava here. The Slava has so many HP that I want to do everything I can to try and reduce that. Our Satsuma is really banged up. He's played well. He's got 2 kills under his belt, and I'm certainly not in any way disrespecting him, or them. But I really feel like my job here is to help concentrate on the Slava. Torpedoes are away. Slava he's going to avoid that airstrike. He turned just enough to be able to avoid it. And I've got another airstrike up. Maybe I can get the Slava to turn again. I'm hoping to get the Slava to turn away from me, and it does look like that's what Slava's doing, and that's going to open up the potential for the torpedo strike. And here's the luck I was talking about. Yep. Yeah, his ship went kaboom. You can see the little symbol there. And while I'm not a fan of that game mechanic that allows a ship to be kaboomed and sunk in that way, I know what happens, and it is a part of naval history that sometimes there were catastrophic attacks like that. So you take the good with the bad, but that really helped us a lot. As Smolensk burns down our Pommern, we are now down to 6 ships, and the red team is down to 4. Now they still have a 2 cap to 1 advantage, and the Smolensk is all over our Hakuryu with Marseille in supporting position. Now look, our Kunming has not really been in the fight a whole heck of a lot. Not using guns, just kind of dropping torpedoes and dropping torpedoes and dropping torpedoes, which you will see pretty much continues. I haven't wanted to use the guns yet because I want a good shot on the Holland, and as I can see, he's turning that way. I put the shot out. I'm just trying to help our Shima, and Shima finishes him off to pick up his 3rd kill, which, great game to Kane. But my guns came too late. In retrospect, probably I should have been firing sooner. And there's the Malta. Now you can see where our Kunming is at. His torpedoes, not going to do a whole lot. And the Malta's coming this way. Now this ship does have defensive fire. And I'm just going to see if I can run ahead of the torpedo. Malta's torpedoes are not all that fast. And I'm able to avoid that torpedo strike. And here comes, well, I do get tapped by a shot from the Marseille. And here comes the Malta again with rockets, which are generally going to be a lot more effective. And because I've got a little bit of range here, distance from myself and the Marseille, I'm just going to run north and try to use this island here on the port side as cover. Marseille can still hit me, and he is keeping me from securing the cap, and they are working now to turn the alpha cap red. You can see our CV in the chat box there. Kunming, cap, cap, cap. Well, Kunming has other ideas. He's got his torpedoes out again. And I'm just getting pummeled by the Malta as I try to slow down to avoid this strike, and I'm able to do that. I juke just enough. And, oh, you got to love the game mechanic that says CVs are gentle, tender flowers that need to be protected and that fires can't burn on them anymore. There's so many things about the CV rework that I just despise, but what are you going to do? It's been this way now for years. Obviously, Wargaming had no intention of improving the game by making CVs something that can actually be damaged anymore. Kunming does finally land a torpedo to finish off the Malta. And he's heading back, I guess, toward Bravo to launch another volley or two of torpedoes. Meanwhile, our Santander has been out this way trying to help me. He's making use of the island here for cover. And my concern here is that I have to finish the cap as Kunming is now maneuvering to avoid the bombs from the CV, but you know, how big a threat is it really? He's still got full HP. I don't think he's taking any damage yet. I'm going to throw those torpedoes out there and hope Santander doesn't move into them, but I want to make sure that if anybody comes straight in at him, that they've got a face full of torpedoes to contend with. Now, if you look at the scoreboard, we're still down on points, and the red team has 2 caps, and we only have 1. And of course, just as my torpedoes are heading that way, Santander decides to move forward, so I'm not going to throw this next set yet. Yeah. Looks like the torpedoes are going to get around him. You can see the shells from the red ships, right, landing in the water, and I'm really hoping Santander has no intention of pushing out there. Santander is one of those ships that's basically made of glass. You can see he's just taken big damage. He doesn't even have to get citadeled to take big damage. And we don't need him out there getting himself sunk. But, you know, I know he's trying. All right, so I'm sitting at just shy of 180,000 damage. I'm going to see if I can't get, I have to maneuver here a little bit, see if I can't get an airstrike on Smolensk. No, he's turning in. Maybe the torpedoes. Now, why did I airstrike this Smolensk and throw torpedoes at Marseille? Because I want Smolensk to feel like he is the target of, or focus of, all my weapon systems. Now, I may have to help with guns here. Marseille is far enough away, and he's got his nose pointed directly away from me. I don't have smoke, but it looks to me like Smolensk guns are, well, they're still headed. No, they've just turned to the Santander. I really need to secure the cap, but if I help to finish off Smolensk, and I can do some serious damage. Smolensk it really doesn't have any armor. And I used the airstrike, but I didn't really have to. Now I just have to avoid getting killed by the Marseille, who has turned around, reversed To juke that set of shells, I'm down to 22 seconds left in the game, sitting at 209,000 damage, and you can see we've just taken the points. I have to secure the cap, and I have Kunming in here with me as I get hit again in a blind fire by Marseille. Santander decides to push in. If he gets sunk, this is over. But, hey, look at that. It's a happy ending. And that really is the game. We do manage to pull out a victory despite the exhortations from our Montana player that this was for sure going to be a loss. You can see the score there, 792 to 789 as the game comes to an end. And I really felt great about this game. I love the damage total, even though I only sank 2 ships, 13 fires, 180 airstrike bombs, 30 HE shells on target, picked up a couple of caps, did some decaps, landed 8 torpedoes. It was just a really well-rounded use of the ship, which I thought I would highlight here. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did and you haven't already, I hope you will like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.